Oh, got it. Okay. Now we've got it. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good. But I can't see you.
No?
I just see chats.
Oh, weird. Okay. How about now? You know,
No.
still no.
Maybe because I'm on chat. How do I get out of chat?
I don't know. I don't know why you're in chat. Hold on, let me ask the lady on chat. Hi, Girum. Okay, let me see if I can add you in.
Yeah, please do.
Oh, great. Okay, cool. I can hear you. Can you guys both see me?
Sure. I can see you.
You can see me. Dave, you can't see me, huh?
I can see you. I can see and hear you. Yeah.
I can see chats.
You see a chat? I'm not sure why. That might be on your end. Because I can see and hear you. I think you might have something pressed on your end, Dave, that I'm not sure, because I think I'm seeing the live screen and I don't see the chat. Maybe you press the comments. There's a tab for comments. You want to see if you press that. Maybe you can
There
turn
isn't.
it
On the top right corner, I'm going to try clicking on it.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
There. Awesome. Cool. Well, welcome. Welcome, Dave. Welcome, Girum. Welcome, everyone who is with us for this special live that is like a making of Yemanjá. And I'm really excited about doing this because this song was very much an international collective effort. And I'd really like everyone to know more about the people who were instrumental in making this song happen. First off, let me just say who I am. I'm Elisa Sanders, and our two guests are Dave Yowell of Sultan Sound. He's originally from Kenya and lived in London for some time, lived in Ivory Coast, right? You can talk about your history. I'd like you to share your history. And now lives in Brazil, where the two of us met. And Girum, did I say your name properly?
Yes.
Is it Girum or Girum?
Girum Mezmur.
Girum Mezmur from Addis Ababa, who is an amazing musician and educator, composer, producer. You'll hear more about him as well. I'd love for you to share about your work. And we're here to talk about Yemanjá, which is the single that we all did together during the pandemic and was just released about 2 weeks ago. And then at the end, we're all going to watch the premiere video. So that's my spiel. Who would like to start? Dave, would you tell us a little bit about yourself? Because this journey really started with Dave, because I was playing around at home. I did a vocal arrangement of Yemanjá and I sent it to Dave and was like, what do you think? And Dave sent back this whole production. And that was the first time I really realized, like, oh, this could be like a thing. This could be a real song. So can you talk a little bit about your history, Dave? The things you've done as a musician, as a producer, anything you'd like to share?
Yes. How many hours have I got?
You've got until 11.
Long history. I'm sure we all have a very long history. I'm trying to think where to start. I'll try and keep it short. So, yeah, I grew up in Kenya until I was 18. Then I went to London. Then I started trying to be a musician there, but I ended up having to be a forklift driver in a big warehouse and all kinds of other jobs to pay my rents and stuff. But at night I would go out and jam in pubs, and then eventually I got gigs and then more gigs and more gigs. And then I got gigs abroad in the Middle East and all over the place, kind of show band type bands, and then with the money, I set up a recording studio in London. It was a big success, Sultan Sound. I had a few friends I knew that were from Ghana and Nigeria, because they found that I understood musically where they were coming from my roots, the Congolese roots, Kenyan roots, African roots, musically. And then word of mouth, and then the studio grew and grew, and I rebuilt it and invested in new equipment. And trying to cut a long story short, I was at a show in London called Olodum, a band, actually a block where they call it here, called Olodum, which you might have heard of. Michael Jackson, all kinds of people have worked with them, Paul Simon. And I saw this beautiful woman dancing near the front of the stage. And she was a Brazilian, and her name's Danny. And we eventually got together, and then we got married, and then we came to Brazil for our honeymoon. We came to Salvador, and I just loved it. It's so tropical. It just reminded me of home. And eventually we bought a place here, blah, 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 blah. And eventually we moved here. So now I'm here. And then I met Elisa.
Cool. What a journey. Beautiful. Girum, would you like to share about your journey? And I actually don't even know. I'm super curious. I know a little bit from when we met in Addis Ababa through our mutual friend Adriana, she's in Nairobi now.
Ah.
Yeah.
Sure. Thanks, Lisa, for having me collaborate with interesting people. Dave, that's very interesting. You've been to, you have many backgrounds that define you, and it's such a pleasure to be collaborating virtually with various musicians. Always, I mean, that's one thing almost only musicians can do. I mean, music itself being the language, and it's an interesting thing. And I always lived in Ethiopia. I was born and raised in Ethiopia. I've never left. I've never relocated to anywhere. I've always lived here. But music has taken me to many places. I'm very grateful to that. To more than 40 countries to date, and has led me. Has given me the privilege to perform, collaborate with people from around the world, and that has always been interesting. And I'm mostly doing for the past close to 3 decades Ethiopian music of all sorts, Ethiopian pop music, Ethio jazz, teaching, producing, and so on. And playing different bands, and also sometimes touring, playing our music, Ethiopian music, and sometimes collaborating with other musicians, as I explained earlier. And the latest being collaboration that we released into an album, vinyl, with Anawol. He's from Niger. Wonderful Tuareg musician. He's currently in Cameroon, and we've done also in the past year some tours in Germany. These are some of the interesting things going on, and definitely Yemanjá has been a great souvenir from the COVID.
Right. Can you're a teacher as well. You teach at the university in Addis Ababa, right?
Yes, I teach at the Addis Ababa University School of Music. It's called Yared School of Music. It's been there for more than 50 years. And yeah, it's a pleasure to work with students there.
Awesome. You know what I thought would be fun is I would like each of you to share some of your music so that people watching can hear a little bit of what you've done. And I'm super curious to hear the last project that you just mentioned, Girum, because I really love Tuareg music. So if you could say the names, I'll pull it up. And also you, David, you've collaborated and produced so many people. So give me like a top 3 list. And then I'll put it on the screen so we can listen a little bit, and maybe you can talk about those experiences, you know, because you both work deeply in collaboration with different African artists. And I think that, you know, people have this idea that, oh, African music, it's just drumming. You know, there's a very kind of generic idea of what African music is, and people don't realize how much diversity there is. And I think now with the popularity of Amapiano and Afrobeat, people are getting to know more, but there's just, you know, probably more diversity in African music than anywhere else in the world. So maybe you can both educate us, maybe pick 3 different pieces you've done, and I'll pull them up on the screen. We can listen, you can talk about it. Does that sound good?
Yeah, how do we do it? Do we post a link or something? Or
if you tell me the name, I'll pull up the link and then I'll post it, and like I'll put it up on the screen so we can all listen to it. And hopefully that works, because I've never done it before.
Go first.
Who wants to go first?
Girum.
Welcome.
Girum, yeah. Nice to meet you. Sorry, I never said all that. Sorry. Nice to meet you.
No, go ahead, Dave. Please
So
go
what?
ahead.
Okay. Well, if you Google or whatever you use, Baranta.
Ooh, can you spell that?
RANTA. Baranta. .co.uk.
Hold on, it cut off. Rantha, RANTHA.
No, BARANTA. Totally phonetic. Baranta.
Okay, Baranta.
.co.uk.
Okay, .co.uk. All right, let's see what comes up. Oh, cool.
And there's a playlist. The playlist you can play.
I'm gonna see if I can share my screen. Let's see if that's gonna work. Share screen, share audio. Okay. Can you guys see it?
It's going loading. Something's loading on mine. That's it. Yep.
Okay. So what shall we play? Is this your? Oh, wait. A group of diverse musicians have teamed up to produce an exciting new percussive sound. And what was your role in this? Did you produce it? Did you put together the group? Can you tell us a little bit about this project?
You see the guy next to me. That's a rather old photo of me. It's a bit of an old project, but it's still a project I'm most proud in. The guy next to me is a famous percussionist from Sierra Leone called Francis Fuster, who's played with many people. Paul Simon, he went on tour with Paul Simon, and but he was based in London, and we got together and did this project together. So there are co-compositions. There's some folkloric music, but I did all the horn arrangements, all the arranging, all the production. He did some of the singing. I did some of the singing on 1 or 2 tracks. Go Man Go is one of the tracks I sang on. It's all very kind of Afro. There's some Afro beat, the original meaning of the word, because Afro beat has now been turned into some other genre now, which is
Right.
totally electronic, nothing to do with the original Fela Kuti Afrobeat. Because now people think Afrobeat means something else.
Yeah.
But we were doing the original kind of Fela Kuti Afrobeat. Yeah, that's one of the projects I'm most proud of my own projects. But there's so many other stuff, like you say. I'm not a young man anymore, so I've had done a lot of production.
Well, let's listen to something from this one. Which one would you like us to listen to, if this works?
Yemanjá. That's
Okay.
I'm singing in French as well on it, partially.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. It's supposed to be. Oh, there we go. Can you hear it?
Society, there's never time
That's
for
you.
artistry, always rushing round. We gotta go. But when we sit down to chop food, it's like we ain't a human zoo. Feeding time is short. Yes, it's go. Always rushing to pay down bills, no time to practice the musical skill, no time to relax. So yes, it's go. So if you wanna sex yourself free, release yourself from anxiety, you better change your plan. Yes, it's go. City, not your son. Choka, Mona, these are your tips. Kila siku, saifu, kama unaenda tumia pombe, nyama choma, shida yote inarudi.
Wow, that's nice. I was like here in the chair dancing.
The sound wasn't too good, but very distorted. But
Oh, was it distorted? Oh.
I'm on a phone, so phones don't reproduce sound very well unless you're on headphones.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm going to put the link here in the chat. So if anyone who is watching would like to check it out.
Thank you.
There we go. Did that go? There you go. So if you'd like to hear Go Man Go and some other songs from this project with Sultan Sound, Dave Yowell, it's there in the chat. So Girum, what would you like to share with us? Can you share something about the last project you just mentioned?
Sure. The album is titled one word, Afropentatonism.
Oh yes, okay. I've listened to this on Spotify.
Yeah, I've written it in the chat for you to make it easy for you if you can access the chat.
I can. Thank you. And you put another one in the orchestra Chongu.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Later.
That'll be for round 2. Think of your next one, David. And can you tell us a little bit about this project? You know?
Sure. Me and Aluseni Nivola, we met in 2005 when we were playing in the Netherlands, when we were playing African festival there. Mm-hmm. In a city called Niamey, and he was at the time the lead singer for a famous world music group from Niger, Natawa, and I was touring with Mahmoud Ahmed, the tour band, and their music was really amazing. You know, one thing about festivals, you get to play very short for 1 hour, 15 minutes, and you get to see many other bands, incredible bands, because it's a stage, and that's one of the things very interesting.
Right.
that makes the tour really worthwhile. So that's how we met, and we kept our friendship. Part of the band, one of the founders of the band and still managing Alseni is Sandra Van Eding, a wonderful member, group and manager, German manager. And we kept contact for many, we kept our friendship for the past years. And to make the long story short, here we are. We ended up doing this. We reunited after many years and ended up with this collaboration. So it has the Nigerian culture, ample of the Ethiopian musical elements and the collaboration. It's kind of very raw because we were touring back in 2019. We were we had a little East African tour in Djibouti, Ethiopia, Kenya, and we went to Niger as well. We did multiple concerts, and at all these concerts, the music was still evolving. And at one point, Sandra had this very good idea of capturing it, recording it live.
It's live, okay.
In Nairobi. So we ended up releasing our live album, and nothing is as good as just doing recording live. With all
I didn't realize it was live. It sounded the recordings are really good.
Yes. So it's a live recording from Nairobi, from our tour in 2018. And so you can play any track.
I have a question for you because I really love Tuareg music and the music from like the Sahara region. So like Moktu Indor, I don't know, it's Moktu. I forgot his last name, but Chinyaring, that sound that comes out of like northern Mali and Niger. And I sent a song that I really liked from Moktu Modur to a friend of mine in Addis. Your friend who I met through you, Sophie.
Okay.
And she said, this sounds like Ethiopian music. She said the rhythm sound and the scale sounds very similar. And I was wondering, can you, as a musician, like reflect on why is that? Is that why you have the name Afro-pentatonic? Is it because are there similarities between the pentatonic scales?
Yes, a lot of the pentatonic scales are used in both cultures. The entire Sahel region has similar musical culture from, Ethiopia, including Ethiopia, Eritrea, and up to Mauritania. West Africa. So has similar culture, and that's why we call the project Afro-Pentatonism, really highlighting what we have in common in our musical culture.
Wow, that's fascinating. Okay, so let me put on the screen. Let's listen to a little bit. This is called Algier, it looks like. Let's do share screen. Ta-da, share audio, this one. Okay, can you guys see it? I think it's on there. All right, let's listen. Hopefully it's not distorted. Let me turn the sound down.
الدكوخ انت دي الخير جرارتنا وينك دينا انت دي الخير جرمارا وانا وينك دينا انت دي الخير جرارتنا وينك دينا.
That's lovely. Hold on, let me get back out of shared screen. Okay. Uh-oh. I can't see Girum. That was lovely. Thank you for that. Man, I just want to listen to the whole thing. Both of you just are incredible musicians in your work. It's like we just need to have a party with just you guys playing your tracks. I'd like David to do another, but Julie, who is watching us from Salvador Bahia, wants to know where everyone is. So Dave, you're in Salvador.
Want me to say?
Yeah.
I'm in Salvador.
And Girum, yeah, Itapuan. And I live in Itapuan, but I'm in Los Angeles right now with my family. And Girum?
I am in Addis Ababa. Can you hear me?
In Ethiopia.
Ethiopia.
Wonderful. So actually, I would like each of you to share another song. But first, I want to ask you to talk about the differences between West African and East African music, which I know that could be an entire dissertation, but just some kind of general ideas for people who have not really been exposed to much African music and are curious, maybe because, the new Afrobeat has become so popular. So someone who wants to dive in and learn more, Dave, because I know you lived in Ivory Coast for a while. Can you talk a little bit? And Ghana. Can you talk a little bit about West African music, just kind of like a general, and maybe give some genres for people to check out, and I'll type them in the chat. And Girum, can you talk about East African music? Because did you participate in the Nile project?
No, I did not.
No?
But more about, yes.
Maybe you can talk a little bit about East African and, Ethiopian, because I think people have really not been exposed to much Ethiopian music in the West. So you want to start, Dave?
Okay. Well, East African music, when you go up to Ethiopia, it's quite different from the music in Kenya. The music in Kenya has much more Central African, Angolan, Congo, because especially a lot of Congolese influence, because during the rebellion against ever since the was it the Portuguese? No, the Dutch, wasn't it? No, the Belgians. And then, anyway, till this day, there's still a lot of fighting going on there. So there were a lot of refugees, especially musicians, headed to Nairobi. That's where and it influenced. It was all their music on the radio. So there's a lot of Congolese and Central African influence.
David, it's really hard to hear you. You're, I don't know if it's my end or your end.
Someone's playing some background music somewhere. I might be doing. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, just to recap, that the main influence in Kenya is
Hold on one second. Hold on. Sorry, guys, it's gardening day. The guy came right up to the window with this big leaf blower.
That's all.
Okay, go ahead.
So yeah, it's Kenyan music. If you go to the coast, there's quite a Arabian influence, but mostly in Nairobi, it's as Girum probably knows, it's very kind of Congolese based grooves. That kind of groove.
Which is a groove that Brazilians would recognize for sure. Can you talk more about like Congolese, Angolan, the more of the West African side?
West African, it's very similar to what's here. I mean, obviously there was a big influence here. Very 6/8 rhythms. A lot more. The high life is the traditional pop music of West Africa since the 50s. And there are lots of theories about the influence of how high life arrived in West Africa. The main theory is that it came from during the Second World War, and later when the Americans came and had the bands, and the British as well, and they had these military bands who would, when they were off duty, go and jam with the local musicians. So high life has a lot of brass arrangements, and but very strong also indigenous African, West African influence, especially with the 6/8 rhythms. So yeah, high life. But today, I mean, there's a new genre coming out. Every 6 months there's a new genre used with electronic music. Afrobeat is quite big in Ghana as well. Fela Kuti used to go there and play in the nightclub there quite a lot in Accra. So yeah, that's about it really. High life is in West Africa. As far as I know, in Ivory Coast, although Ivory Coast again slightly different, a bit of a French influence as well. And yeah, that's Nigerian, West African, the candomblé music.
Congolese. Can you talk a little bit, like, because I'm thinking like 3 genres that I could put here in the chat, and if people wanted to check out. So I put high life, Afrobeat. Can you maybe give a type of Congolese?
Sukus is the name of the SUKUS. Was also by the Caribbean. It's called a triangle, cultural triangle. That the slave exportation to Latin America and Caribbean, and they mixed it up with Latin, and then it came back on the radio to the Congo and Angola and Kenya, and it's called soukous. It's very guitar based, and the guitar rhythms are based actually on the traditional Central African instrument called malimba. There are different depending what region. You know, the thumb harp instrument. But soukous, but there's been again lots of divergence. Soukous was the original Congolese pop music, but it's like really diversified.
Okay. So there's so much to say on this. You know, Africa has 54 countries. West and Central Africa are what, like 10, 15, 20 of those countries. But I put in the chat high life, Afrobeat, and soukous. There's an older Afrobeat, which is like Fela Kuti, and that type of Afrobeat, and then there's the new pop Afrobeat. So you can check out both, and then soukous. Girum, can you talk a little bit about East African music? And I know there's a lot of different East African music, but you know, maybe 3 genres that you're most familiar with that you play. Let me put you on highlight here.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Alice, East African music itself is diverse because we have all these countries: Uganda, Kenya, Ethiopia, Djibouti, and more. But talking about Ethiopian music, at least, it is highly melody oriented, essentially, is versus rhythm oriented. There are strong rhythms, very specific rhythms to Ethiopia, but the musical culture, perhaps because of its close proximity to the Middle East, there's the melodic aspect of our musical culture is quite pronounced. And it's you can really see that in our productions, pop music production, traditional music production. So singers here, there's a very high standard expected from vocalists, and have to be really good. The vocalists have to be really have to handle special pentatonic scales, and the melodies are highly embellished from all parts of the country, from north, the middle part of the country, from south, and everywhere. So that's one thing among others that really defines Ethiopian music and part of East African music in a way.
Okay. So can you tell us, because I know there are many different types of Ethiopian music, would you like to share maybe a few genres that people could look into? Or if you didn't want to do just Ethiopian, maybe a genre from Ethiopia and a genre from another one or two East African countries, for people that might want to listen to different types of East African music? Your choice, either all Ethiopia or different countries.
We can do if you search for Ethiopian pop music, you can get a lot of productions. Maybe Ethiopian pop music from the 1970s are also distinct, and a lot of them have been also reshoot on a series of volumes called the Ethiopics, which are responsible for. You probably know about that. And Ethio jazz is also one other genre of music that is popular, but usually done with mostly with instruments only. Ethiopian national music is also interesting to listen to. You can listen to the interesting vocals, traditional instruments, but more importantly, it's also good to witness the dance together with the music as well, because the dance is also very important, and it really adds interesting elements to the music. What else? Music from Tanzania, Kenya are also all interesting, and there's a type of music that you get in coastal Africa called Tarab music. That's also that I'm finding also very interesting. It's a mix of African music and music coming from the Middle East. It has a lot of influence, and you can find that in Kenya and Tanzania as well, with strong vocals, that is, as well.
Okay.
It's quite diverse, even within East Africa.
Okay, hold on. Let me put everyone back on. There we go. So we've got about 10 minutes before the video premiere. So let's talk a little bit about Yemanjá. And David, you did the production and played bass. Can you talk a little bit about your process of making, like, I sent David, I was just learning to record during the pandemic. So I sent him a vocal arrangement I had done where I tried to imitate a lot of the instruments with my voice. And then I did some harmonies from the original song, which is by Serena Assumpção. I can put the link in the chat. And I sent it to David because, you know, he's a producer and we had done some work together previously. And I was like, what do you think? And, you know, he sent back this production, which just blew my mind because I think I didn't really take what I had done seriously until you sent, you know, he had arranged it properly and, you know, taken the vocals and mixed them. And then he added in bass, which he plays bass, and guitar and all these, you know, what you hear of Yemanjá is David's production. And then we thought, well, let's send this to some friends who are musicians. Everyone's at home. Everyone wants to work on music. So we sent them to Girum in Ethiopia, a friend of ours, Girum Mezmur, percussionist in Salvador, and the cousin of a friend in Mali, Sheikh Diabate. And that's how we ended up with the song that is on Spotify and that we're going to see in video in a little bit. But David, can you talk a little bit about like producing Yemanjá or anything you want to say about it?
Well, it's, you know, every production has its own system. You can't, there's no specific, as Girum knows as well. Depending on the music, depending on what resources you have, depending what software, what if you're using loops or samples or not, or live recording, it's like cooking, you know. And then you add the spices towards the end, or sugar, make it sweeter, etc. It's every production generally is a little bit different. It's been a while, and I'm trying to remember exactly what the production process was. You've set it out quite a lot. It was mostly, again, collaboration, a remote collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
So with today's technology, where you can just do it all on a desktop computer with some good audio software. I use Cubase, and some MIDI, so you can record the keyboards. And I think I did some keyboards as well, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, and so yeah, that was it. I mean, and it's just an experiment, especially with something that's not a standard pop song. If it's a very formalized pop song, then you tend to follow the more rigid process. But with this kind of world music, as they call it, fusion and ethnic stuff, really we're experimenting. That was a big experiment. I loved it. I mean, it was right down my alley. That's my thing. So yeah, I mean that's about it really. Got any questions specifically? I'll try and remember what the answers were, but it was just one of those productions, you know, that just clicked. Sometimes they click, sometimes they don't. You know?
This clicked.
I love it.
I'm thankful it clicked. We've got about 5 minutes before the watch party. Girum, you have played Brazilian music in Ethiopia. You have a band, you have an album of a blend of Ethiopian and Brazilian music. So can you talk a little bit about your exposure? You got 5 minutes, but talk a little bit about your exposure to Brazilian music. How did you first hear it in Ethiopia? A little bit about blending it. And if you want to say the name of the album, I'll post it in the chat for people to listen to.
Okay. Yeah, I'll keep it short, as much short as possible. I have always loved the Brazilian influence. You know, I don't remember when I heard it first, but it has always been there, and especially the bossa nova rhythm. It was in also in some early Ethiopian productions from the 70s as well,
Okay.
or directly, or also stuff influenced by that, at least by
By
the
bossa nova.
yeah. And well, I mean, so taking that influence, when I did the Addis acoustic project and recorded the album, most of the arrangements, at least among it had 14 tracks, at least 4 or 5 tracks had that influence somehow, the Brazilian influence. So I was trying to mix. The project was featuring Ethiopian music from the 1950s and early 60s specifically, and I took repertoire from those decades and then made rearrangements while trying to stay as much authentic to that period of Ethiopian music as possible. And definitely the Brazilian influence was there when rearranging, and I've always loved that. So you can hear the Addis acoustic projects. Some of the tracks are on YouTube. It's on Spotify and everything.
I posted the name in the
To
comments.
Yemanjá, by the way, it's a very interesting production. You know, during the pandemic days, there was we were not playing much also, and when you sent me the track, I found it very interesting, and I wasn't sure what to add on. And thanks for all the freedom also that you let me, you know. So I was thinking, what should I? It was already good, and what should I do? It was challenging. What should I add to that to you know, make it interesting? So I thought of playing the 12-string guitar, which I don't record often. I have one. I hardly, honestly, haven't played it much and recorded it much. So I recorded a 12-string guitar, mostly playing melodies and some chords. And it's nice to hear it in the mix in there. And so for me also, it's one of those rare moments when I got the opportunity to play my 12-string guitar. I like different guitars. Now I have a bunch of them. I like to, you know, acquire guitars, but don't like to sell them. So
I think most guitarists, most instrumentalists, really
you know,
love
you get
to
attached. That's the problem.
Right.
You know, they become your babies.
Right.
So,
and each has a different sound, different feel. I know in
yeah.
David's studio, there's a bunch of different basses. All right. Well,
And
listen, I'm gonna.
I went to. I'd like to thank my friend Daniel Tamrat. I went to his studio. I mean, mostly we are not meeting people at that time, so he helped me record it. You know, recording is another thing. So it was nice to do this in his company, and he also video recorded me as well.
Oh, thank you, Danielle.
So it was a nice moment to collaborate.
Thank you to him also, and to both of you. Okay, so the video is live. I'm going to switch screens so we can watch together. Oh, nice. You guys hear that? It's really loud. It's saying we've got 2 minutes, so we have a little bit more time. Anything else you guys would like to share or say? You can promote any new projects, any work you're doing.
I'm building a new studio, and it's almost finished. You can see it in the background.
It's lovely.
I've been struggling with the outside door, a huge, big, fat door that I made that won't close properly.
Oh.
But yeah, I'll get around that. And then I'm going to upgrade my equipment, and that's my current priority. It's definitely the studio at the moment, finishing it, installing the equipment. that's my update.
If you're in Salvador, it's going to be one of the premier studios in Itapuan, so definitely check it out. And should I put like your email or a site here in the chat for someone who might want to know more about you and the studio, Dave?
Okay, I have a site, but I haven't updated it for a long time. I will be updating soon. At the moment, there's a lot of debris around, bits of wood, cut wood lying around, and sawdust and things. So when it's looking cleaner and neater, I will actually put some photos up on the website, my studio website in production. It's called sultansound.com.
Sultan Sound. And in our last 39 seconds, Girum, can we put a website or a name of a project or something, like if people wanted to reach out to you, see more of your work?
Maybe the acoustic project, Afropentatonism, and my
Oops, I spelled your name wrong again. I'm correcting it. There we go. I've got it spelled correctly. Okay, so I'm gonna switch us to the screen because we're about to start with Yemanjá. And then we'll come back. Can you guys see it? Oh my goodness, it started. Let me put the sound on.
Almost played the whole thing, it looks like.
Oh no, I was late for the...
Here I am, with my voice receiving the light from this land. Infinite sacred path to the open arms of the sea. Your sons and daughters, they bathe in the song of the waters that flow. Waters that flow, renewing your dreams as you sleep on the lap of the sea. May we in clarity walk and follow your steps, shells open and close. Mystery of the sea, a path laid in pearls. Mystery of the sea. Oh, his fishes and silver. The song that sustains us. Siren who enchants us. Where the shore meets the sea. On this beach, to see my womb, a breast to suckle, in relief and comfort. You had to break me, and surrender is all that I can do. To find peace, invisible undercurrents move through my body and soul. Inner tremors, they shake my earth, and walls crumble, structures fall. I'm like jelly inside. I'm like putty in the creator's hands. Oh, great artist, what would you make of me? Yemanjá, good morning. Yemanjá, bom dia. Yemanjá, bom dia.
Wow. Thank you. Look at what we did, guys. We did that.
Wonderful.
Wow. I've seen that so many
Definitely.
times because I did produce it, but it was really nice watching with you guys. And after you guys both
You
talked
look great
about
in
your
the video.
experience. Thank
Huh?
you.
Video,
Thank
very good.
you.
Well,
We shot it.
Nicely recorded. Huh?
Thank you.
Well done.
We recorded it in Senegal, and thank you to Yoroglyph, very talented director and cinematographer in Senegal and Dakar. We shot it in an afternoon with people playing soccer all around. It was really wild. The
Yeah,
beach
nice
was
colors.
deserted, and then like, thank you very much. My aunt is on, Carla Perez. Hello, and Willie is here. Demetrius, I can't say your last name, but you know Girum from oh my God, I'm forgetting the name of the band. Oh, I'm so sorry. Do you know Demetrius who plays the kra with
Yeah.
Hadis and I forgot the name of
Oh,
their band.
Masob.
Yes. Hello, Demetrius.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Hi.
being with us.
Great.
Gosh, I don't know what else to say. If anyone has questions for us, for either Dave or Girum, for me. Yes, Demetrius, Moseb Band. I'm so sorry I forgot the name. They are amazing. They play traditional Ethiopian music and they do a lot of collaboration with artists around the world. So definitely check out Moseb Band. And Demetrius has written the name in the chat. Anything else anyone wants to say, wants to share?
Quick question for Girum.
Mm-hmm.
When I do Swahili, Bona,
Come
do you
again?
speak any? Did you learn any Swahili in Nairobi? When you were in
Who?
Nairobi,
I've been to Nairobi.
did you learn any Swahili? Hambo sana, Bona.
Not really.
No. Okay.
Not enough time.
Just curious, because it's a very lingua franca right through a lot of East Africa, even up as far as the borders with Ethiopia. Swahili
Yes.
is the language that everybody, all the different tribes communicate.
Exactly. I hear about that, and I'm hearing that Swahili is being taught also in Addis Ababa now, even more and more. So it's an
Really?
interesting thing. Yes, there's a school teaching Swahili, and it was an interesting thing to know about.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes communication easier with all of your
Easier,
neighbors. Yeah.
Apparently, I learned Swahili when I studied it. The long story, my father died on the River Congo making a documentary, and my mother had to dash out and start working. So we had what we call in Brazil, a baba. I can't remember how we call it in English.
Like a nanny.
Nanny, a nanny. We didn't speak any English. And so I was 9 months old, so I started learning Swahili first.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, and then when I grew up, the whole environment was all Swahili.
Uh-huh.
I like to say I'm
Yeah,
a two king.
it's a widely spoken language throughout East Africa, and
I studied Mozambique.
it's a very advantageous thing to know how to speak Swahili.
Go and
I would like to learn how to speak Swahili. I would love that to be my first African language.
very phonetic.
And it sounds interesting. It sounds beautiful.
Yeah, it does. My dog has a Swahili name.
Very rhythmic.
That's my first attempt.
And what's the name? And what's his
Zuri.
name?
Zuri, which means beautiful. And she's
Uh-huh.
here. She's sleeping. I'm going to bring her online. All right.
Zuri.
Well, thank you to
Zuri.
everyone. I'm going to post
Zuri.
the...
Okay.
Oh, Mazuri. I said it wrong. It's the whole thing is Mazuri, right?
Mazuri. Mzuri.
Yeah.
Oh, she heard her name, so she woke up. Come here, Zuri. Oh no, she just went and got on the on the couch to sleep.
Yeah.
So if you guys would like to watch Yemanjá, I've just posted the other link or the link to the video directly in the chat. I want to thank my two guests so much, because this all happened virtually, one-on-one, sending links and, back and forth individually, but it's really nice to have the both of you here, for the two of you to meet. And I really loved this collaboration. I more and more am wanting to do collaborations more than just things on my own. And David and I are working on a project that came out of a collaboration in Mali and Dakar earlier this year. So I hope that we'll all have the opportunity to work together again, maybe in person, which would be great.
Yeah, someday.
In person.
We'll meet up in David's studio.
Someday. Nothing like that.
High five, as we say. Venga, high five.
Venga, how is come here in Portuguese.
Thanks.
All right, thank you for everyone who's watching. We have Virginia, Dimitris, Willie, Julie, and I think Rusan, Olu, who I met through David. We worked together on some projects. He's a Nigerian composer in London. Thanks for being on with Priti. Priti from India is on. Thank you. Reed Hadley. Yes, thanks to all of you. And and my aunt, Carla Perez. So we'll see you next time. Hopefully for the next release, we'll do another live. And Yemanjá is out there. Watch it, comment it on it, share it with friends. And there's going to be a second video because I actually had everyone record themselves playing. I just have not had a chance to put it together. So this is the first Yemanjá video. But the next one will be a video where you'll get to see all of the musicians playing their parts. And that will come at some point.
Okay.
All right. So thank you so much. We'll leave it here. And watch Yemanjá and let us know what you think. Thanks so much.
Nice.